Guys, how are you? Welcome to Serial at Midnight. My name is Heath, and we've got a trio of new DC animated features on 4K. So we're going to be talking about AllStar Superman, Batman, the Doom that came to Gotham, which is essentially Batman in an H.P. Lovecraft story, cosmic horror, and the Legion of Superheroes. Let's kick it off with AllStar Superman, because that is the one of these three that is not brand new for 4K. This was actually released in 2010, I believe, on Blu-ray, and now Warner Brothers is giving it the 4K upgrade. I think it's a great sign, actually, because it means that Warner Brothers is paying attention to what has worked in the past on their animated movies, and they're also supporting 4K. So this is great news. I love All-Star Superman. I'm a huge Superman fan. I think you guys know that. And this really captures what I love about Superman. It's based on one of the, I think probably one of the seminal Superman stories, written by Grant Morrison, art by Frank Quitely. And it's I don't want to spoil it for you, so I'll just say that. So the plot of the movie is that Superman is dying. He's been overdosed, and he gets his power from the yellow sun. He's been overdosed with sun radiation, and it's destroying him from the inside. And at the same time, Lex Luthor is headed to the electric chair. So it's basically the final days of both characters as they work their way toward the end and how they deal with their circumstances. And it is so emotionally resonant, but it's also a lot of fun. Grant Morrison, as a writer, loves the stuff. He loves 50s. He loves those Gee Whiz comics of the 1950s. And there's so many goofy elements in Superman from the 1950s that he just pulls from and puts in the middle of this very serious, heavy story, this emotional story. So, I mean, we've got, like monsters from the center of the earth, and we've got, ray guns and like people with like pointy helmets with antennas on them and stuff. You think about covers from 1950s sci-fi magazines. Like, that's what he loves. And he doesn't give it to us ironically. He's not winking. He just loves it. And so he incorporates it with all these serious elements, and it just clicks. It just works. So when people say they don't get Superman, I always recommend, this is one I would recommend. I'd also recommend Superman for All Seasons, which I hope gets an adaptation soon. This is a loose adaptation. There's so much that got left on the table. So I think it's a 12-issue comics series. They had to leave so much out for this animated movie. So always do read the source material. There's nothing better than the source material. Anything based on a comic, the comic is always better. But this does a great job at adapting what I love about the story while preserving the art style and all that stuff. We've got two new features for 4K. So we've got two documentaries, an all-star adaptation and an all-star salute to the Silver Age. They've got producers and writers and the composer and so many people involved with it. Bruce Timm, who is heavily involved with the overseeing this and making it happen. We love Bruce Timm, Batman the Animated Series, Superman the Animated Series, Justice League, all that stuff. The Timm-verse. He's here talking about, they're new. They just filmed these. They're 2023 copyright. So he is sitting down talking about the original story, talking about the adaptation. It's great. And especially the thing about the Silver Age, great, because it really taps into what makes those so hard to get into, but then once you do, why it's so unique and why we love that stuff now. You just need the right person to guide you. They have carried over previous features, so the creative flow, incubating the idea with Grant Morrison. So he's here talking about sketching, ideas for the story. Commentary by Bruce Timm and Grant Morrison. Superman Now, which is a making of the whole project, and then All-Star Superman digital comic. Highly recommended. 4K, Blu-ray, and digital code. Also, 4K Blu-ray and digital code is Legion of Superheroes. This one's interesting because I like the Legion of Superheroes, but they're branding Supergirl pretty heavy on this. It's like when they released, sometimes if Batman's a supporting character in a story, they still go like Batman leads. So Supergirl is leading this story, even though it is really a Legion of Superheroes story. Supergirl, as of course, has played in the Legion of Superheroes universe. There's a lot of the whole Krypton pantheon, kind of goes through Legion of Superheroes. It's an interesting story. It takes place in the 31st century. This is part of like the Tomorrowverse, which I'm still kind of not sure what exactly the Tomorrowverse is, what they're doing with it. It's like they're moving forward, but like Jensen Ackles is Batman. So why does he keep saying Sammy? It's a Supernatural joke for people that didn't. What's he talking about? It's this weird thing. It's like it's very futuristic. Like the buildings in Metropolis look like they're from the future, but the start of the story takes place in like present day, I guess. And then she goes to the 31st century, meets up with a legion of superheroes. So we get it all. We get Brainiac 5. We get, was it Triplicate Girl or Duplicate? What are we calling her? They really do a lot of fun things with the Legion of Superheroes. I'm not sure it all works. It gets a little, I don't know, just watered down or something. Like I lose interest in the middle of this one, and I'm not sure why. I will say it's gorgeous to look at. It clearly seems to have been animated in 4K. The difference between the 4K and the Blu-ray, pretty big. Definitely worth watching this in 4K. And it's really fun. I mean, there's not a whole lot of stuff out there for Legion of Superheroes fans. They're probably not ever going to get their own movie, but we'll see. There's always rumors. There's always plans. Knock on wood. We'll see if we get a Legion of Superheroes live action movie. If we do, it's probably not going to be like this. Probably not going to be like the comics. Anyway, it's fun. That's all I can say. It's fun. It's not great. I like it. It's fun. And this has the Legion behind the Legion, down to earth, the story of Supergirl, meet the Legionnaires, Brainiac attack. What these boil down to is like, Supergirl's great because she doesn't say no. She doesn't take no for an answer. Determination, grit. Like it's like, oh yeah, Brainiac 5 is a great character because, he really comes from this place. Like, they're just explaining what you've already seen. They're not really telling anything that you can't get from just watching the movie. And we got 2 bonus shorts here too. Did AllStar Superman have bonus shorts? I don't think it did. This one does have bonus shorts, and this is the one I wanted to save for last because this is the one that I think most of you guys are going to be the most curious about. It is the Doom that came to Gotham to play on an H.P. Lovecraft story. It's not actually H.P. Lovecraft, but it is so inspired by that. So it's based on a comic story from, I think it was around 2000 maybe. Mike Mignola, the creator of Hellboy. And if that name sounds familiar to you in association with Batman, it's because Mike Mignola was the guy behind Gotham by Gaslight, where Batman fights, basically Jack the Ripper. So this takes place, it's not a direct sequel, but it is kind of a spiritual sequel. It takes place in the 1920s. Batman has been away, traveling for 20 years. He's picked up some sidekicks, and he's going back home to Gotham. But along the way, like, they discover something creepy in the ice, out in the Antarctic, out in the frozen wilderness. They discover a being in the ice, and it all leads to Gotham. We have like a really interesting take on Ra's al Ghul, or Ra's al Ghul, where he's like, there's a lot of like Middle Eastern mysticism in this, and it's not the Ra's al Ghul from the Nolan films. It's not the Ra's al Ghul from the Batman the Animated Series. It's a different Ra's al Ghul. It is like straight up, like he's got a third eye on a turban in the middle of his head. It's cool. I mean, it's real. It's Middle Eastern mysticism. There's a whole thing running through here that feels kind of like the Golden Dawn. Secret societies, if you know the Golden Dawn, the occult organization that Jimmy Page was chasing for a while. Crowley, it's really, really interesting. It's for adults too. I used to see these pop up in the children's section at Target, and I'd be like, no, you're going to traumatize some child. These are not for children. These are for adults. And this one is really like, I don't know. I like what it does. It's so like so I'm not going to spoil it again, but like it does build to this really interesting payoff. And I don't like all the steps along the way, but I do like how it pays off. And it's real. Like if you like cosmic horror, if you like H.P. Lovecraft, and if you like Batman, I highly recommend The Doom That Came to Gotham. It does really, really cool things with the Batman mythos. It's an Elseworlds tale, which means that they can just pluck these characters out of the continuity that we know, put them in any time and place, no baggage, no strings. So along the way we get, there's an Oliver Queen character here, but it's different than the one we know. There's a Dick Grayson, but it's different than the one we know. The demon Etrigan is in this story, and it's used really, really well. The more I think about this, the more that I like it. When it was done, it's really like it's a huge surround sound experience. When I was done with it, my wife was like, "What were you watching?" I was like, "Oh, is this Batman movie?" She was like, "That was really intense." I was like, "Yeah, it was." So this has Batman Shadows of Gotham, but special features on the Blu-ray here. Batman Shadows of Gotham, which is just like a 13-minute, here's what it is. It's fairly, electronic press kit fluff. An audio commentary from the director and not just the director, a lot of people involved. And then 2 bonus cartoons from the vault. They both feature the Demon. I think it's the Batman the Animated Series episodes centered around Etrigan. So if you know who that character is, you're gonna be happy. So all 3 of these are now on 4K. Again, worth it for the 4K. If you're on the fence about it, you do want the 4K. It's a better experience, and I'm really happy that Warner Brothers continues to support these. They're cranking out these animated films several a year. I think the animated films are running circles around the theatrical division. To be honest with you guys, they're so much fun, and like they just take risks. Because I'm sure they're much, much, much cheaper, but they take a lot of risks, and they're adapting stories that have been proven to work, you know? So I love that about them, and I will keep supporting them, talking about them here. Which ones are you interested in? Have you seen any of these? Let's talk about it in the comments below. Thanks so much. Oh, by the way, I'll put links too. I'll put links in the description of this. If you want to pick these up, you will be supporting Cereal at Midnight. All right. Thanks so much. Take care. Till next time, I will catch you later.